Oh man, Token, aka Mr. T, is on the bus out of town. Let's talk about it. We got Lito, Cheddar Chaz, Jared, Chris. Let's do it.
First took away. That's the best. Get your money's worth out.
Yo, my bad. I meant 5. My bad. No disrespect.
Oh no, you good though.
People they call like I'm on a witness stand. It was him. But how y'all brothers doing, man? How y'all brothers doing? Shout out to everybody joining us. Hit the like as you join the building.
Man,
straight, bro. Good, man. Shout out to Lito, man. Talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about the new release real quick, Lito. Let's give them a spell on where they can find the new release.
Release. It's gonna be everywhere, man. June 21st is gonna be everywhere. Apple, Spotify, whatever. It's gonna be on Bandcamp if you want to buy it. You know what I'm saying? You want to put some money in a better pocket.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? We appreciate that. And if y'all ain't doing that, June 21st, man, we got a show. Actually, we're releasing that bitch at a show. It's at, hold up, my bad. I'm bad at this. I didn't know this was about to happen. It's at
of course at the Lido 6. that might be a little disrespectful. But
that's crazy.
I disrespect Lido like that, man.
Hey.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Hey,
Lido 6.
Chris upset about that. But anyway, 3021 St. Claude, man. Pull up.
3021 St. Claude, that 9th Ward. My neck of the woods. But shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Shout out to Lauren, shout out to Corey, shout out to Jaylee, shout out to JB, shout out to Residuals, shout out to Most Hated Bronze Flat Power God. Easy, is that you? That long ass name? Nah, that can't be easy. Most Hated Bronze Flat Power God. Peace, God.
Man, what is wait, hold on, Chad. Before you start, I don't, Chris, you started this comment about residuals.
Oh, I did.
You did?
What we talking about?
Yeah. I'm gonna just pull it up. I'm gonna just show this right here. Hey, listen, we just talked. I just literally just talked to that man, bro. We gonna have to have him on. He got a top 5 list. The nigga he got a rotating list. It's crazy, but it's the same players keep coming up. But he got a top 5 that he really want to like break down for y'all. But
okay,
I'm gonna let him do it. But yeah, he is scouting residuals. The boy never stopped. He never stopped scouting. I probably you can ask Chris, bro. Like he will text you at 1 in the morning and be like, "Hey, I found such and such."
Yo, that boy Ivan said, "Yeah, me and my partner, we had a severe misunderstanding." I'm like, "Severe? God damn! I ain't never heard a misunderstanding framed that way." That sounds
about Carter Bryant.
Yeah, that sounds like 2 countries. That boy said severe misunderstanding.
And he was so calm about it.
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, it's over now." Like, really? But yo, so breaking news. We know Bryson Graham, aka Token, is out of the building. A lot of people credited Bryson with this last draft, in particular, i.e., Yves Messi and Antonio Reeves. What did you guys initially think of the news, or did you already see this happening?
I'll say first, I didn't see this happening, but it does make sense though. You know what I mean? Like, you ever been on a job and you get a new boss? Like you get a new manager or something like that, and you're like, he ain't trying to fire you.
Right.
Or you or somebody else that's on your team, but you sure don't want you working there. So you're trying to figure out a way to make it real uncomfortable for you to look for another job.
Yeah.
I'm not saying because I know. I'm just thinking from the outside looking in, like probably was like that. Like you ain't gotta go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here.
Motherfuckers, I'm telling you, man, you're really overqualified. You shouldn't be here. Go ahead, Lito.
Hey, I've been to Five's spiel. I've been there off experience. A motherfucker wanted to fire you in real life. I'm gonna say this. The whole situation was kind of confusing for me, to be honest. Like once Joe pretty much started bringing in his disciples, you looked around and you were just kind of like, well, how does Bryson fit into this?
Right.
Where's room for Bryson to be Bryson? Because to be honest, like, you know, you can say whatever you want about Messi, right? However you feel about him. I will say drafting him at 21, I think he probably got the most for his talent Eddie could out of that pick. If you look back, if you look at it in hindsight, like the player that was drafted, you know, I mean, it wasn't a whole lot of greatness after him. So for what he got, you know what I'm saying? I think Messi did well to capitalize on his ability. Now, as far as like the long-term vision for Bryson, I don't know how good he would have been, because you know, you look at it like look at Trajan, right? Like, I don't know if Griff was micromanaging and handicapping him in a way where he couldn't really get his shit off how he wanted to. And then you bring in Joe, who that wasn't Joe's pick to have that job. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, is he a Joe guy? Is he lockstep with Joe and how he thinks? And then bring Troy Weave into the situation, right? So now it's like, well, I think Troy's position is obviously is not general manager. Well, it wasn't general manager; it was assistant VP, right? I think something like that.
Yeah,
Assistant VP. But it's like, if you got a guy who, you know,
he got
Troy,
Swan's old position. I think senior vice president.
Okay. So if you look at Troy's history, it's one of, you know, drafting, and Troy has a particular style of player that he likes. You know, so I it was confusing. I'm glad the water's cleared up in a way where, you know, Bryson got a promotion. You know what I'm saying? And the Pelicans look like they cleared up whatever murkiness the water had for them.
Chris, how'd you feel about it? I mean, did you believe it was a foregone conclusion once Dumas started bringing in the fucking Fab Five from Michigan? Shout out to Detroit Warren. Shout out to Michigan. But god damn, Joe. Everybody. Shit.
I mean, it felt like eventually, man, it's what was gonna kind of happen. I think y'all all made good points. And I mean, look, man, I like, you know, I've done it before, but you know, do you have to, or should you cook new chicken with old oil necessarily? You know what I mean? Probably not. You know, go ahead, get the fresh, you know, in there. If you're gonna do it, you know what I'm saying? And you know, for them, you know, it's like, even if I don't know 100% exactly what they're doing with this new regime, or if I'm a fan of everything that's been done, I can respect that. You know, you're gonna bring in your people, do it your way. Don't keep any of the leftovers. Don't keep none of the people from the previous regime to, you know, to save face. Or and the same with ownership. No mandates, man. No, you got to keep this person. You got to keep that person. We didn't see that happen time after time, rebuild after rebuild, from the coaching staff to the people in the front office. I would hope that if they brought a 62-year-old man who said he liked his job in New York, if you brought him down to run this organization, this basketball organization, you know, I will hope that, you know, he's going to be able to do things the way he sees fit. Maybe Bryson was an asset, maybe he wasn't, but I at least like that. Now I feel like completely, when we're talking about some of the factors in the front office that we feel like are going to actually make moves, or names that we recognize and understand. Well, all of the old ones are gone. Swin's gone. Bryson's gone. Before that, Trajan's gone. Griff's gone. Now it's Joe, it's Troy, and a bunch of other names that I'm sure maybe you guys are more familiar with than I am.
Now, honestly, and I'm gonna keep it a no real. It's been about, let's just say, the last 7 or so years, right? Last 7 or so, this entire regime. Ain't like they've been doing no shy-ass job. So it's probably, and I think it's only fair that you bring in the people you want, just so there's no excuses. And that's why we would love for Willie Green to also be gone, so there's, you know, all the excuses are out of the building. But speaking of you know, Bryson Graham going to Atlanta, going to the Atlanta Hawks. Let's talk about some guys who may be joining them from the Pelicans. This is something I thought of after that was announced. You know, the Pelicans, you know, a different regime, of course, had some interest in Okongwu, and you know, guys like GMs and stuff like that. You know, they're probably going to be loyal to the guys they drafted, i.e., Yves Messi and Hawkins and guys like that. Do you think that the Pelicans would spin the block on Okongwu in exchange for an Yves Messi and Jordan Hawkins? Do you think that token, i.e. Bryson Graham, would like to acquire Yves Messi or Jordan Hawkins and bring them to Atlanta after seeing the success that Dyson's had in Atlanta?
I think, Chad, you're kind of onto something there. I mean, you can probably say that Bryson had something to do with Jordan Hawkins too, right? Like you could probably say that. You just really don't know.
Yeah.
You can damn sure for say that, for Atlanta, if you're looking at it from Atlanta's perspective, right, in hiring Bryson, like they feel like they got a diamond in the rough, right? And somebody had to say like, this was my doing. For them to go after, like Bryson wasn't like a commodity that people were, seeking. Like they had to know some information that made this very attractive to them. They could have went out and got somebody that had a better track record or a well-known track record than Bryson did, but they didn't. They went this route. So if you're Bryson, you're in this position, you're like, okay, well, how can I repeat said steps to make me look attractive? Let me go after the pieces that I drafted that I felt like was good enough, right? And get them to the team like I did for Dyson and help this team be better. I'm not attached to Okongwu if I'm Bryson. I'm attached to Yves Missi because I know what that development is. So I can see this being a good thing for the Pelicans because if you're Bryson, you're going to go after what you know. That's something you know. If you feel like Jordan Hawkins just needs to be in a different environment, you now get to create that environment.
We'll start with Chris. Chris, would you trade Yves Missi and say, let's just say Jordan Hawkins? Just of course they got other salary mechanisms, but let's say the entree of the trade package is Yves Missi and Jordan Hawkins for Onyeka Okongwu. Shout out to Buku Stat Guy. He's played 5 seasons, average 9.6 points, 6 rebounds. He's also I see you got 6'10". He about get 6'8". Good tweener for small ball center guy. Would you trade those two guys for Onyeka Okongwu? And why or why not?
I wouldn't at the moment. I think that changes if if you hear that the Pelicans are heavily interested in the center market free agency wise. They want to spend above average money or average money, or if that's if they're tied to a center or a big at 7. Well, then at that point, yeah, I mean, I'd be more open to moving Yves, even if it's not for Okongwu. I've always liked Okongwu's game, but as a change of pace kind of setup, somebody who's gives you variety. I think the Pelicans have been missing variety at that position specifically. With you look at a lot of even Indiana, for example, they got 3 different options or 3 different bigs that all specialize at different things, or they can give you a different level of flexibility that maybe the other one can't. And I mean, hell, they were supposed to have more with James Wiseman in who they signed over in the offseason. So the Pelicans have been missing that a while. I know that they have Olynyk. I think Okongwu would fit. My thing with Missi is, even if I don't know if I wouldn't tie myself to his future, and I don't think he's untradeable. I just personally, for even if it's a 21st overall investment, I gotta see at least I gotta see year 2. I gotta see what a summer looks like, because it wasn't that bad to where I can't question if by year if he won't be better than Okongwu. I don't know, but I'm not willing to just kind of shift completely unless I'm getting a major upgrade. Right. If I'm getting a major upgrade, like I don't think the difference in between Okongwu and Missi going into year 2 is significant enough for me to move. And even a guy like Hawkins, like, I mean, I think he has a big question mark going into what the rest of next year and so on and so forth is going to look like for him. But he wouldn't be the first shooter or the first guy with his ability that I would say has improved going into a year 3. The comparisons that keep coming up, like Aaron Nesmith is somebody I keep thinking about, because Nesmith was drafted in Boston, tried to figure out some things there, didn't necessarily work, had some injuries, but he found a home in Indiana. Maybe that's for Hawkins in another place. Maybe that's for Hawkins in New Orleans. But yeah, man. I mean, I if you make a move like this with someone like Messi, who might be a lottery ticket, or maybe is what he is, I think at least give it another year. I don't think his value is gonna dip that much to where you maybe get an even or just a little bit of better return than Okongwu in the present.
Shout out to Ross joining the show. And Ross, you were pretty big. I wouldn't say pretty big advocate of Okongwu. That's probably not framing it properly. But I'll say you wouldn't mind acquiring him. Like me personally, my like quick opinion about it is I kind of see it as a little bit of a lateral move. Because I don't think Okongwu was a starting center on a really good team. I kind of see him as a rotational big. And if I'm going to have a rotational big, I might as well keep my first round pick who's making significantly less money. But or I see Okongwu as a starting 4 type person, and now I still need a center. But Ross, what are your thoughts on Okongwu? We spoke about him a bit in the group chat.
Yeah, look, I like him because he's versatile, right? And I think a couple of y'all have said it, that his ultimate ceiling might be, and I'm glad somebody just brought Bam.
Shout out to Lauren. Yep.
I think his ultimate ceiling might be as kind of a 4.5 or something, like for lack of a better term, because I think there's definitely situations where he can be a very good 5. But the little bit I watched of him this year, especially once he was able to take over as a starter, was just a lot of stuff that was real similar to Bam. And like you've seen Bam play some center, you saw him obviously play a lot of forward this year with Khalil Ware. I think Okongwu would just give you a lot more versatility in the front court than you have right now. I mean, look, if Eves was blocking 3 shots a night and was this legitimate rim protector, and we kind of saw a vertical path there, then, hey, maybe not. But all things considered, Okongwu shot the 3 a little bit this year, wasn't bad. He's just really versatile. I think it gives you more opportunity if you're going to put the basketball in Zion's hands more. And you can still have some really tall lineups between him, Trey Murphy, and Okongwu in a lineup. So no, I like him a lot. Look, he can pass. He rebounds, I think, better than Okongwu does. Than Eves does. I think there's just a lot to like, other than the fact that he's probably 6'9", and maybe that's generous.
Yeah.
Other than that, if he was 6'11", this is like an absolute no-brainer.
Right, no
We're
question.
not having a conversation. So At the end of the day, does it matter? It's just I think he's a more talented basketball player than Eves.
Right. Now, one leader, you about to say something?
No. I mean, I agree with basically everybody, man. I agree with you too, Chaz. I don't think Okongwu's a starting center. I mean, he's a good change of pace. Now with Ross is like, you're not talking about a 6'11", 7-foot guy. You know what I'm saying? Like him and Eves are almost essentially the same height. And I still think he for what you're getting, he's a better player than Eves. But for the money that he's making, it's kind of like, is it worth it?
And to me, that's really the nail in the coffin for the. Unless I'm sending out like equal salary, I don't want to take on an additional $6 million for a center that's not starting, or for a big that isn't starting. And that's kind of been my opinion with Naj Reid as well. But Five, what are your thoughts on Okongwu? And we'll move on to Garland and Bruce Brown. What are your thoughts on a brother Okongwu in Atlanta?
It just doesn't move the needle, right? Like I'd rather just see another year of Eves if that's the case. Now if there was like a deal that Bryson wanted to get Eves so bad that he was willing to, make the salaries kind of happen in the Pelicans' favor, they would get more in return, maybe a draft pick or something like that, I'd be way interested in that. But just centering around just getting Okongwu, I don't think you're really doing anything at that point.
No. What are you about to say, bro?
No, y'all may have already talked about this, and apologize, if y'all did. Okongwu only makes like $14 million or something. I mean, he's not like, what's he got, 3 years left on that extension they gave? I mean, it's not like cost prohibitive or so. It's not like he's making $28 a year.
No. The proposed deal was Messi and Hawkins. Now you can do like maybe Messi and Hawkins and Jose, but then it's kind of like, all right, wait a minute, am I giving up too much in this deal? Am I getting the first back? Something along those lines. But I think it would have to be Messi and Hawkins, because I'm just basing it on the Bryson attachments. And what do we know? Bryson might be dumb. Maybe he'll give up multiple firsts. He might, I love these guys. You gave up on them. Like, look, I started off mopping floors like you guys. Now I'm watching like Bryson. If anybody know about being patient and working his way through the system and robbing them motherfuckers blind, it's Bryson Graham.
Hey,
shout out to Bryson Graham.
I don't think we did that any justice, Paul. For him, Bryson, to work his way, i.e., work his way through the system and figure out a way to become a general manager and then I think a senior vice president of basketball operations. Yeah. But dog, that's it. Crazy. No offense, Ross. You only see white people do this. You only see white people do like for him to get to this point. Hey man, well, shout out to you.
What's ironic is I mean, like we pretty much all were in consensus that David Griffin was not putting the appropriate people in positions to like be successful. Mm-hmm. And yet the two, I can call them whatever you want to call understudies that really weren't in the jobs all that long are now both leading franchises as kind of the top guy. Trajan obviously in Detroit and now Bryson in Atlanta. So, I mean, it's just interesting that other folks in the league are identifying those people. I don't want to say I was wrong.
Let me ask y'all a question. How do you think, based on like Bryson's tenure here and what he worked his way up from to where he got to, how you think Gail feels a way about losing somebody like that?
I considered that, and to me, that's how I kind of feel like Willie Green's here because he's cheap. Honestly, that's what makes me, because if you're willing to, Bryson, he's been here way longer than Willie Green. And if you're willing to let him go, or you're willing to say, look, we got a new token for you. Yeah. So this is how I go. You got big token, little token, baby. This is baby token. We got baby token here, right? The next one gonna be infant token. So we got baby token.
Can I ask a question? I'm not as familiar with like the mechanics of it, but I know in a lot of cases, especially for coaches, I mean, wouldn't they have had to give permission if Bryson was under contract? They'd had to give permission for him to go for a job. I mean, to make it so. I mean, in that regard, I think Gail obviously would have they would have known and okayed it to a certain degree.
I ain't gonna lie, they gave Trajan permission every year. It's like Trey, go ahead, get the fuck out of here. We don't care.
Dog, I think Griff taught him how to sell drugs, man. Just being honest. And I don't mean that in the sense of real drugs. I mean, he probably told him how to game the system, how to pretty much talk his way into a job. That's the only thing Griff has really been good at.
I think too, when you got like
I need him to teach me how to sell drugs.
Let me tell you,
I think a successful dealer in that regard.
I do think when you got like the gigs like the Nets and the Hawks and those jobs, I think guys are just more willing to take chances. Because I remember I heard like Danny Ferry was back into consideration for the Hawks, and it was like y'all spent Danny Ferry, but it's kind of like the Pelicans. To me, bad organization is just a stupid shit. Like I ain't gonna lie, it's like the Pelicans spinning the block like a fucking wide angle turn to go get Joe Dumars, and it's like how many years do we have to like come full circle with this connection? So I think it's a bit of that. But speaking of people interested in spinning the block, gotta kind of spin the block talking about Darius Garland. Well, first of all, we got 111 people in here now. We got 35 likes.
That stopped the show.
That kind of killed the momentum. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna run a quick ad. Let's get the likes up during the ad. Let's hear from one of our sponsors, Comfort Bird. Before we do that, shout out to all of our sponsors: Chris Smith Homes, John Deere, no one runs like a deer. Sunshine. Shout out to Sunshine Anderson. Also, she's on tour right now, looking thick. 4D Energy, Standard Mortgage, Blue Moon, Theo's, and we're gonna hear from one of our longest tenured sponsors. Wait, Leo, was that Hey man, I ain't getting no motherfucking thermos.
Yeah, dog, you gotta get your.
Hold on, dog. What's going on around here?
Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah. I
don't
got the
count
ice
my
chest too.
Oh,
I hadn't heard something like that referred to as a thermos since
What
I was
y'all
like,
call it?
oh,
A coffee cup? What you
I
call
ain't
it?
even home, bro.
a tumbler or whatever they call it.
Tumbler.
Thermos tells
that.
me that's how I know you live like north of the Mason-Dixon.
Okay,
That's how it gets cold. It gets cold where you are. You need a thermos.
Shit.
Well,
Motherfucker, get some mittens and like put coffee in it. Like, hey y'all, I'm out to run the
Company Burger is the official burger of Pro Pels Talk and Boot Crew Media. Located at 4600 Ferret Street, Company Burger has been locally owned and operated for 11 years. Grind the meat, bake the buns, make the mayo, get the homemade tots. Company Burger uses Creekstone Farms prime beef to create the best burger in the city with milkshakes to go and a full bar. Company Burger is open every day besides Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Can't make it out? No worries, we have you covered. You can order online right now at thecompanyburger.com or check them out on the Toast or Uber Eats app. Company Burger, the official burger of Boot Crew Media.
Yeah, man. It's funny. It's funny. Justin really pronounced that all his C's and K's with a Q. It's like companyburger.com. My God damn, just
Grind that meat.
Like, no, let's run it again. I can do it better. Let's run it. Let's run it again. But yo, so we talking about
before you move on, you had mentioned Sunshine Anderson, and I just did some research. Shit's all right. Everything good. Everything good.
Yeah. Aging like a ice cold 40. Man. I can't say wine. Ice cold 40. OE. But so let's talk about Darius Garland. Now, to preface this, Darius Garland is hurt a lot, right? And he gets like the weirdest injuries. Motherfucker had a broken jaw. And he got this toe injury. He just got the weirdest injury, but he cold. He is cold, dude. Nice, 2-time All-Star. He can hoop. So there was some rumors surrounding Cleveland possibly trading him. Those rumors they may have subsided a bit due to this injury. And let's just let's come out and ask, Lito, are you trading for Darius Garland even with this injury? His injury is expected to be 4 or 5 months.
Absolutely.
Are you trading for him? You still doing it? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. That don't stop me. He fit right in. He be right at home. You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm sorry, Lil. Shout out to Randy Brown. Today is birthday. More blessings to you, brother.
Man. What's up, Randy? Happy birthday, bro.
Happy birthday, Randy.
Big dog. They probably even his birthday. He probably lying. But go ahead, Leo. You say I used to do that. You get on the RT with a 5 pent on your shirt. Like,
that's crazy. Shout out to RTA.
I'm getting paid today. But 5. Are you? Oh, my bad. Go ahead, Lito. You traded for Darius Garland because he's on the same timeline as Herb and potentially Trey. Injury recovery timeline.
Go ahead, 5. You good?
Oh no. I think so. Yeah, you got to. Like, take a swing for the fences. It ain't like you're gonna be good right now anyway. It's an elite guard. If he plays 50 games, you got to take a chance. You don't have his skill set on your roster, like you might as well. And I think CJ probably would like to go home. It makes a lot of sense for him.
Oh, he's from Cleveland. Huh?
Yeah, so I'd do it. Pause.
Yeah, shout out to Cleveland. I remember Joakim Noah was like, "Who the fuck wants to go to Cleveland?" Joakim Noah was tripping. LeBron was still
saying that.
Look, LeBron was scared of Joakim Noah. Like he was scared of him. He didn't want a problem with him. Chris, are you trading for Darius Garland given this recent news?
Before I do that, Lito.
I'm not pausing nothing.
Lito.
I'm not pausing nothing.
Lito, that ain't gonna stop me.
You'll be right.
He got a home here.
I didn't say anything about a home. I didn't say nothing about a home. I don't know where the home come from.
Okay, because the other shit wasn't.
That wasn't me. Yeah, no.
That wasn't you. Right.
Nah.
My bad. All right. Crazy, nasty man. Garland. Yeah. I trade for him. I think
Okay.
and the Pelicans have been needed. We've been talking about a point guard, for a while, and I think that you could argue that the Pelicans and the Cavaliers both have things on their roster that could kind of make the other one better. I think for Cleveland, if they plan on going, that they're pretty much they're in that space that I think people would consider this year a disappointment. Maybe losing to Indiana, but they're now in a situation where they're back-to-back postseasons, back-to-back playoff series victories. Now they can consistently look at themselves as like, we're a contender. We expect to win 50, 55 games. So now it's just shuffling. It's just saying, all right, well, we got Donovan here, we got something with Mobley. Allen gotta get the fuck out of here. Or we got to break up Garland and Mitchell, which I think the backcourt is the thing. I don't think those two you can maximize in a series what those two guys do best, with some of the things that they lack, neither of them being great defenders and both being undersized. So the Pelicans maybe have some, I don't know if it'll be a Herb Jones or draft capital, just something to give them some extra level of flexibility. But I don't think Cleveland needs much, because they've proven, I think, even with what Ty Jerome did last season and some of the things off their bench. You got Shaq yelling off the top of the mountains, play Monty Bates. Like, Cleveland gonna be all right. So they just might need to just reshuffle and be good. For the Pelicans, man, they need a point guard, man. Zion ain't had one. The closest thing that he's had to one that he's talked about is Lonzo Ball. And just that level of creation, I think, has been missing from the Pelicans, the New Orleans, in a very long time. Garland can score, Garland can shoot, Garland can pass the basketball, he can lead an offense. He's comfortable with having the ball in his hands. He's not like, and he's been a part of some winning situations. So, injury or not, regardless what you think of the future, or not, it's time for the Pelicans to get back to that. They do need somebody, Zion or not, they need somebody that can go ahead and run their offense. And I think, Garland would be one of those guys we've been talking about for about 2 or 3 years now, in all honesty.
Ross, you look a bit concerned here. You look concerned. Is it the initials? Is it the DG being back in the building? What's your concerns with Garland? How are you feeling?
Look, he's a fine player. I guess
I knew you were about to use that. I just knew you was going to use that terminology.
I guess my question is and here's why I say that, because I think he made an all-star team this year, but I kind of feel a little bit like he's that like all-star by association because he was on a number 1 seed. Let me ask you this. What's the trade? Like, because he makes $40 million. He's a small guard.
Right.
I don't know that he's a needle mover. Like, let's just say the deal is CJ and Herb. That's cool if we're looking to the future.
It can't be. Oh, that's one of the things that I was going to get to.
No, so tell me what. I guess give me the hypothetical trade.
Okay, now for me, I'm a no on the Darius Garland. I'm not a solid no, but I'm a no because of Ross's similar concerns. Like, the trade concerns me, right? They're a second apron team, so they can't take back more salary than they send out. Also, as a second apron team, and this is relevant when we discuss Bruce Brown, they also can't do sign and trades. So now you're talking about CJ, and it's not that this is some fucking deal breaker for me, but you're talking about CJ and like maybe let's say Hawkins or Jose. Probably gonna be Jose at any point, all right? But to me, I'm just like not being able to move DeJounte and having limited options with the Bruce Brown situation. I kind of would rather maybe some depth with CJ's contract, right? And for me, the target is Jared Allen. Because I can get to 20 million or a little less than 20 million a lot easier. Still got Indiana's pick as like some pettiness for some pettiness for Cleveland controlling, one piece of Indiana's future. And I still got CJ, I still got Herb, I still got all this cachet of picks and things like that I could do to round out the rest of the roster and maybe even the backcourt. Like you got guys like Colin Sexton today, who's been proposed as being available, and other players. But Ross, continue. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say I would like someone would have to convince me that there's like a lot more to unlock with Garland, because
two-time All-Star.
Again, I don't treat him as an All-Star the same way I treat like Trae Young or right. Whoever, right? Like his All-Star appearances are different for me. And I would need to feel like, oh yeah, you know what? He averages about 20, 21, whatever it is, and 6 assists. I would need to think like, oh yeah, but in a new situation, you're going to get like a Dallas to New York Brunson type jump or something. I would think that, and I don't personally believe that he has like that. I kind of think like this is sort of the ceiling a little bit, which is again a very good player, but I don't think he if you swap him for CJ, like, I mean, maybe a win, a couple wins, maybe a win.
But see, Ross, we're talking. You're getting somebody who he shot 48% from the field, 40 from 3, almost 90 from the free throw line, and played next to Donovan Mitchell. So you're and in your backcourt. I'm not saying it as a talent. I'm saying simply like in your backcourt, sharing that space. So I think with Darius, beyond that, and someone who's only, who's 25 years old, there has to be some flexibility in his game as well, or maybe and that would be something that you would have to sell yourself on, right? Like, okay, he's obviously used to sharing the ball. Even this year, he had to step aside and watch Evan Mobley become a bigger part of the offense. So he's seen a bunch of different things and still found a way to be him. Now, are you getting a superstar back? I'm not sure. But if I'm the New Orleans Pelicans, if I have a chance to get someone who's that efficient, who I would say still relatively young, even if you are concerned about the money, I understand that's a fair gripe. But the player in itself, and the fact that we still possibly haven't seen what the best of Darius looks like, I think it's enough for me to want to gamble on. It's not like, I mean, if you come at me and you say, all right, well, I don't think it's that much of a difference between, like, in talent, Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. I'd rather pay a cheaper price to get someone like that. Okay, I can understand. But no matter which route you go, you could ask me this question about 4 or 5 different point guards, and I'm gonna tell you yes.
For me, I think it's more about the cost acquisition, right? Like if I say, would you prefer, I don't know, let's say Colin Sexton and John Collins or Darius Garland? Now I'm kind of like, well, I'll take those two versus this one guy because it helps with multiple needs, but it's also like, all right, what's it going to cost me to get these guys? 5. What are your thoughts on this? How do you feel about Garland? Do you feel like there could potentially be some more cost-effective options out there? And has the injury changed your perspective?
The injury doesn't really change my perspective, but I think about it in a sense of like Tyrese Halliburton, right? In the Pacers. You didn't know what he was until he got to a place where they needed him, right? Like we all thought, I was number one Tyrese Halliburton fan. I thought he was going to be really good. And, you're surrounded by a lot of talent in Sacramento. They don't give him the ball. He's some nights he's off the bench. Some nights he's starting. And you just didn't know. You knew it wasn't going to work with Fox because Fox needs the ball. Just like Darius' situation in Cleveland where Donovan needs the ball. And now he's sharing, and every day it changes until Tyrese got his own team, right? And he had to be the man, even though Pascal was supposed to be the man when Pascal came. And still, Tyrese still had to carry the burden and lead the team. And I think that's what you could possibly get out of Darius. But to Ross's point, it's the money. If you were looking for a Jalen Brunson type jump, remember, Jalen Brunson wasn't making that much money, even when he signed with the Knicks, and he still took another pay cut. So it always goes back to the money. You're still not, even if Darius comes in, he gets on a team with the Pelicans, he makes them a contender, you're still going to look at his contract like, you're supposed to do that. you're supposed to be at that high level. You can't even gauge him, based on his style of play and him being better because the money that he'll be making, and that's the difficult thing about it. Like, okay, you good, but that's what you're supposed to be doing based on the money you're getting. What's the next level? And I think that's what Ross is kind of getting to. Like, all right, the next level is you making $50 million a year. Motherfucker, you better be winning all NBAs, not just making the All-Star team at that point, right?
And that's the tough thing about being the Pelicans, right? Because in a bigger market, you'd say, motherfucker making $40 million, $50 million, you better be the second best player on this team, and not because everybody else trash. You better be just cold, like you better be nice. And one could say that Evan Mobley is rapidly becoming the second best player on that team. And when you hear about Joe Dumars, now I don't know Darius Garland. Darius Garland might be a cold-blooded, stumped down P, for as I know. But
I think you're from Gary.
From Gary, and I know he's a stumped down P.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ike Turner.
Scary Gary.
I mean, shout out to Joe Jackson, rather. Shout out to Joe, Crazy Joe. But speaking of Crazy Joe, so Dumars is he's looking for toughness in the script on Garland and on Allen to a degree has been not the toughest people. Like, you know what I'm saying? When the basketball becomes more physical, they aren't the toughest guys. And one of the calls for Garland has been to gain weight. And that's something I've always had a bit of an issue with the Pelicans, like guys being kind of small, having smaller frames and not being able to really stand some of the more physical aspects of the game. But speaking of toughness, one person who I think three guys, right? We'll just tie these three together, right? Now, personally, I think Colin, Sexton, and Collins, Colin Sexton especially, I think he's exactly what Joe Dumars would look for in a guy. Colin Sexton's crazy. Colin Sexton don't give a fuck who on the team with him. Colin Sexton he's just crazy. The dude is crazy, right? And that's how I can describe him. He a dog. He crazy, and even better than that, he make 22 less million.
Yeah.
So you can't beat that with a 2x4. Yeah. So, what do you guys make of the rumors that Collins and Sexton could be available now? And I saw something recently from I think her name is NBA Diva. She was saying she's a beat writer for the Jazz that Walker Kessler is going to be available, or they're going to listen to calls for Kessler again this offseason. I think all they're going to be doing is listening, honestly. But they're going to be listening to calls for him. When you think about the Utah Jazz, when you look at that team, is that a team the Pelicans should be trying to do business with, given their draft luck?
That last part of that sentence was important.
Or lack thereof. Or lack thereof.
I tell you, I say this. I'm always going to be a big fan of Colin Sexton. Colin can hoop. And, there were doubts about him and Garland in Cleveland. I think, for the most part, Colin went to Utah and rebuilt his value and showed that he can play without the basketball. I think that was one of the knocks on him, especially when they drafted Garland. They didn't know exactly who to get a basketball to. I think Colin found his niche in the NBA now, and I feel like now would be the perfect time to make a move. Colin and I ain't gonna lie to you. The Kessler part of it, granted, we don't have any height on this team, and we don't have. I mean, you can use, I guess, is a shot blocker, but I know we don't have rim protection like that. I'm kind of off the Kessler train. Like I'm all right.
Okay. Now I ain't gonna lie. When I hear Griff say that shit, like, oh, we got guys we can unlock offensively. That's a motherfucker that I've seen shoot some corner three. Like I've been seeing him do some shit that I'm like, yo. Dude, kind of cool, but I understand because it's like we spoke about him ad nauseum, and we almost traded for John Collins. So, Chris, what do you think about the prospect of bringing in a Colin Sexton or just anyone from that Utah trio? Let's even say Jordan Clarkson, just anybody from Utah.
See, I think that winning teams or teams that are chasing championships and maybe can change these guys' roles. Turn them into, or feel like they can turn them into winning players. Those are the teams that make those kind of moves. Like,
okay,
because you got a guy in Colin Sexton. Unfortunately, he ain't been a part of a whole bunch of winning in his career. You know, John Collins, he had what I think one, maybe 2 seasons that he was in the playoffs in Atlanta. Ain't been around a bunch of winning. So you got like taking those guys from where they're at to New Orleans, where they probably still gonna feel like, oh shit, I could do the same shit I was doing over there. Like ain't really no principle set up. You know, these dudes don't look like they like each other a whole bunch. I mean, Willie Green, my coach. What am I learning here? Am I getting better versus if they got to go to Denver, or you know, if they get the Boston call, or if they get one of these other places that like this is our setup and this is what we need you to do. Like that's how these players mature. That's one way you get Aaron Gordon.
But let me ask you this, Chris, because Aaron Gordon's a good part when he was traded from Orlando. Now, the Jazz have been for Lauren's point, the Jazz, by them not owning the full rights to their pick this upcoming year, they may be forced to tank again to keep from giving OKC another pick. So, do you think a part of that like, because I've seen some really excellent games. Like the Jazz have an incredible media crew, and they put together phenomenal film breakdowns and things like that at the end of the year. I've seen some excellent basketball being played from Collins, and who was actually co-starting at center for a while with Kessler, and from Colin Sexton also. Do you think of some of that is because they've been asked to tank? So it's kind of just like, oh, what the fuck? We sitting 3 out of every 4 games anyway with these quote unquote injuries. And so what's the point? Whereas if you come to the Pelicans, it's like, yo, nah, you got to win. Not we trying to do something.
I mean, you would have to sell yourself on that notion. I just wonder, like, what type of damage has been done in that process. You know what I'm saying? Like, is this just, you know, it does 2 years of wasted basketball in a sense? Like, do you almost to have to gain some of whatever was lost back? Do you have to go to a better organization or a team that's ready to win? You know what I mean? Versus it being a lateral move, or even being a lateral move, like coming to the Pelicans. I would say, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this. This is one thing that could answer the question for you too. They both expiring, so now they got to get paid. So now shit might get a little real.
So now, do I even know what I'm getting? Like, I mean, are they giving me? Are they giving their best effort as basketball players just so I got to make a decision if I got to pay them or not? I got too many questions, but I like the talent. The talent.
That's a good point.
If we went back to the Jared Allen conversation, right? Like, I know a lot of folks are worried about what some of these guys do in the postseason. That ain't really my concern as much with the Pelicans, because their postseason success is going to be tied to their coach, and it's going to be tied to their best overall player. For them, they got to get floor establishers. They got to get people that can consistently get them even to those situations. Then we can evaluate what making some of these moves and trading good players can look like to actually chase their ceiling. If you think it's Utah, if you think it's Jared Allen, the Pelicans need good players, right? And they need some depth to go with it, whoever they are. Utah, I think it's a lot of risk involved in those with some of those guys that I just wouldn't do.
Okay. 5, what do you think about this? I don't even want to say trio. Let's just pretend Kessler's off the board. So let's say Colin Sexton, and Jordan Clarkson.
I wouldn't love it. I'd think about it.
For which 2 of the 3, or which players in particular?
I mean, the opportunity to move DeJounte is key, right? Like I think we've all been a big component of that. I just don't know, like getting, guys back, let's say Collins, that in particular, like, I don't know if it's like, what is that doing for me, right? Like at the end of the day, am I trying to get better with this pick? Am I moving on from him later? It doesn't really move the needle. I'm just getting off a guy like in DeJounte, pause, just moving on from DeJounte, and then what? I'm kind of saving face, and I'm starting from anew. What am I actually doing?
Like John Collins had some really impressive shooting numbers last year.
Yeah, but make you a better team. Like
right.
he's shooting good on a team that wants to be bad.
Okay.
Like there's no pressure for anything. Like you're not even trying to be good. You're just out there trying to make
just
sure
letting
you get
shots fly. Fuck it, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm done with him too. I feel you.
John Collins.
Yeah.
Now, Ross, let me preface this with this. Now I bring up the Utah Jazz also because they're a team that could be tanking. So they'll be more willing to take on some of the Pelicans, probably lesser desirable players in exchange for draft compensation, possibly. But Ross, what do you think about this trio of guys? Let's say John Collins, Colin Sexton, and Jordan Clarkson as possible Pelicans targets.
I'm not interested really in any of them. I like Sexton for all the reasons you said earlier. He's just a grossly underrated shooter. Like grossly underrated, I think. Like, he's a legitimate 3-point, like almost specialist in my opinion. And doesn't get enough credit for it. But I mean, like all those guys are expirings. I don't think any two of them move the needle like on a 1-year basis. And again, unless there was like a long-term plan in place that it was, hey, we need to accumulate smaller blocks of salary so that we can then at some point pair some picks together and go get a needle mover, like a semi-star or a fringe all-star or a legitimate all-star. I just don't care. I don't see any of these as like I either want to be bad and start over or like make an attempt to be really good. And this to me feels like it just keeps you in this like 9 seed. It's like cool. You
just
got
making the Jonte move all over again.
For the sake of being glass half full, since they are on 1-year deals, if shit go awry, you can move them and you can repackage them in February. Expiring salary. That's a lot of expiring salary.
And I agree with you on that part. That's what I'm saying. If there was some, because they're not going to make you better. Like those three guys are not going to make you some kind of like competitor. They might make you incrementally better.
I think they raise your floor
a little bit. But I mean, look, they ain't raised Utah's floor.
But Utah also like was tanking from the game one. Like they sitting guys weeks at a time. So I know that's how I don't know.
Well, I'm with you, but they're tanking for a reason. They got those 3 guys on the roster, and they're still and Laurie Markkinen and Kessler, and they're still making the obvious decision to tank. So that tells me something about the players. And again, I don't think any of them. If I was Denver, or if I was New York, or if I was someone in that like. Man, we're right there. Like we might just need a player, like a very good role player. Hey, I'm all ears. I'm very interested in those types of players. If I'm the Pelicans, like you need you need something that's gonna make a difference.
Yeah, you need a guy.
And I think that's for me. It's like until we start talking about the move that gets you the next, a jump. I just these players just don't interest me that much.
Honestly, I really don't think the Pelicans have the assets to get that guy at this stage. Because I think with the Herb injury, with the way the Brandon shit worked out, you didn't really get any players. We'll talk about one of those players in a second. And you really didn't get any valuable picks. You really didn't get shit. And you fucked up this lottery. So I kind of ironically. This thing came together a little bit how I wanted to. Pause. I kind of want the Pelicans to design this team like the current Pistons. Like get a bunch of young, like hungry around the edge guys and, get to a benchmark to where all right now I could probably repackage these dudes and move. That's why even when people talk about Trajan to me didn't do a good job because what they were trying to do was take on a bunch of bad contracts and get picks in exchange. They weren't really able to do it. I think they were actually ended up being too good, and he just had to roll with the punches. But if I'm the Pelicans right now at this juncture, since you don't have any top picks, really, you don't know what's happening with Giannis, and you still have that Giannis card to play. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a ton of mid salary. You don't really have a bona fide superstar you're building around just yet. I think you kind of have to address around the edges and get some depth in the meantime. And if something happens at the deadline, you can strike versus, all right, I'm going to rebuild DeJounte's value. It ain't no rebuilding his value after an Achilles. Like, it just ain't.
Look, Chad, you make a good point about Trajan and the Pistons. And I think there's a certain part that I agree with you and I disagree, I think, because I agree that I think they were better than he thought they would be. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I think where I would say he did a bad job from that perspective, but he did a good job in the sense of, and this is where I think it sort of lends itself to your Utah idea, is that, well, yeah, they got Hardaway, but he's off the books this year. They got Malik Beasley, who played better. Mm-hmm. He's off the books this year. They traded for Paul Reed, off the books this year. They went and got Dennis Schroeder, off the books this year. Mm-hmm. And so it is one of those situations where, like, yeah, we did these things. It like sort of worked because we sort of made Detroit basketball relevant again. But it's not like I'm now, I have an anchor tied to my ankle with these players. Like we're just starting back again from where we were the previous year, except Cade Cunningham is better, Austin Thompson is better. I think there's some merit to, hey, just go get better players and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, all right, cool. You're just doing the same thing next year. So,
but here's the thing, Ross, and and Chaz, that I want to point out is that one of the things that worked in Detroit's favor, outside of the way that they structured some of these people that they brought in, is that whether they planned it or whether it happened, their young players benefited immensely from the guys that they brought in.
Right.
So along this process, Duren's ascension didn't stop. He continues to either get better or stay exactly where he's at. Mm-hmm. Sore got better. Like K got better. Mm-hmm. Ivy was off to a solid start. We'll see what's up with Ron Holland, but he got valuable experience. Like, they got a bunch of young talent, and probably something I'm forgetting in this process. They got a decent amount of young talent that all benefited from them, to where, like, yeah, they made these veteran moves, but it's all backed around. Like, their core has not changed. So the problem with the Pelicans is they don't have a core. So if I say, I mean, it should in theory be Zion and Trey, but is it? What exactly is their core? Because if you tell me that that they have a core in place, then I would be willing for them to do a bunch of different things, because I would assume at that point there are steps, there are long-term planning involved around it. That's the biggest difference here. The Pelicans also need young developing talent to be in the wings of all this shit, because these veteran players, in Detroit's, case, Tobias Harris, these all fillers. These all guys to get, until I get Thompson to where I need him to be. Houston did the same thing. We're going to pay the Van Vliet all this money. We're going to, they eventually brought in, Steven Adams, and they brought in some other veteran talent, but all that shit was masked around. We got these young guys right here that we need to ultimately be at their best. When you're a small market, who's that's gonna be for the Pelicans?
Man, I think Detroit, if you're using that as an example, their ability to pivot, right, was the best thing they could have done, right? Yeah,
especially for money.
Yeah, right. Like, they saw, okay, this is our plan, right? We don't really want to be good. We're gonna just get a couple guys, and as the season got better, like, the team got better. So, all right, well, things change, and your ability to pivot from those things and create a new plan, that's what running a basketball team is. Like, you don't know what it is until you know, and then you kind of got to go for it. But that doesn't change your overall planning. It just one tweak, 1 year. Okay, K's off to a good start. Asur's ascending. Like, you're given, the reins or the ability to grow within parameters. Like, it's just the ability to, pivot from what your initial plan was and deviate from it. That's the biggest thing. And that's what we don't have here. That's what we haven't had here in New Orleans, and really what pisses us most off.
Go ahead, Ross. I'm
trying to ask you a question, because now while we're talking about Detroit now, and because it really is, it feels like it's two things, right? Like, they're young players ascended, got better, improved. Would you say that the way they played this year, because they took the Knicks to 6 games?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
7, right?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. They
Right.
wasn't like they got swept. Like that was a very competitive series. Would y'all say that it was more because the coin flip veterans were better than expected, or because the younger players ascended, right? Because I would say the one thing that the Pelicans have absolutely whiffed on over and over is the role-playing veteran. Cody Zeller, terrible. Larry Nance, not good. Josh Richardson, failure. Who was the captain they brought in early this year? Bruce Brown, terrible. Who was the guy that they brought in and then cut halfway through the year?
Was that
Michael Green? Yeah.
No. This year, the wing. Javante, terrible.
Yeah.
Like all of those, like the fringe veteran that you're like, hey, if he play, they've all been terrible. So would y'all say for the Pistons, and I guess a different question for the Pelicans too, but like which of those is I guess more important to progressing?
Honestly, and I'm gonna be honest, I think the reason why the Pistons succeeded this year had a lot to do with first Monty was gone.
Yeah.
So Ivory had more runway. I don't really think Duran got much better. I think Stewart is who he is. And Cade was healthy. Cade was healthy. And to me, that changes everything. Cade being healthy and playing like an all-star, you know what I'm saying, balling. Because I saw him miss damn near the first half of the year with his injury. And we start, Daniel Tice, right? But yeah, I think so much of it was Cade being healthy and Monty being gone, and Malik Beasley having an anomaly of a year. It was a total anomaly, right? This motherfucker, the fact that he could claim, and this is how you know when it's an anomaly. He was talking crazy.
Yeah.
This motherfucker talking about he the best shooter in the game. This man was nuts. I just saw you get signed before that, and you was cheeks. So, like, he was with the Jazz, ironically, right? He was with the Jazz. He got traded to the Lakers, I believe, I'm not mistaken. But he was bad. And I mean, you also didn't just get any coach. You got one of the best coaches in the game in JB Bickerstaff. Cade was healthy because Tobias was a bit of a letdown, but they got Tobias to trade him. Like, some of these guys they signed to trade him. I thought Tim Hardaway was done. Also, I thought he was done, and he bounced back.
Thought he was on his way to China.
Yeah. But Chris 5, one of y'all wanted to say something. Oh, he was the Bucks. Okay, he's with the Bucks.
I think they brought in specialists. Like the Pelicans have brought in veterans that don't specialize in anything. Like I mean, the guys that you name, they may be able to do a little bit of everything. Or I mean, Cody Zeller, the most positive things that someone was able to say is that he's a good screen setter. Which I mean, it's a great basketball element, but it's not enough to get through the things that he doesn't do well. But they brought in Detroit brought in a bunch of specialists. They brought in two guys that shot, I think, close to 40% from three.
But are they really good human beings?
Do they have compassion?
All of these guys, specialists, role-playing veterans, they come from other situations. But it complements who at least what they thought their core needed.
Mm-hmm.
Will the Pelicans do that? Will the Pelicans have the opportunity to do that? I don't know.
So speaking of vets who didn't, I don't know what we expected from Bruce Brown, honestly. I didn't expect shit. Shout out to Bruce. He was a throw-in for Brandon. Like, it is what it is, what I'm saying? You just take your loss and move on. But so Bruce Brown being a sign and trade candidate is cool for teams that's looking to contend, like Denver, New York, maybe other teams. But the issue is that him being a sign and trade candidate, and I think it's imperative that the Pelicans, they have to find a way to sign and trade Bruce Brown. You got to get a second or something. You just have this the principle, right? Fucking principle at this point. Here are the teams that he's eligible to be traded to, and not many of them are probably in the market for a Bruce Brown. Now, he can be signed outright by some team, but I don't think Bruce Brown taking no minimum. See how Bruce Brown dresses? That is not a man in touch with reality. of the situation. Like Bruce Brown gonna want at least 10 mil. You ain't going from 19 to like 3. You 10, cool. But all right, so here are the teams. You got the Denver Nuggets with about $7 million in space away from the second apron. You got the New York Knicks, $8 million. You got the Orlando Magic with damn, I would hate to play the Magic with Bruce Brown, like that should be crazy. With $8.5 million, right? You got the Mavericks, very interesting, with $12.6 million in space. You got Minnesota with $12.8 million. You got the Lakers with $16.2 million. You got the Rockets with $16.5 million, another crazy defensive team. You got Toronto, I'm gonna skip them. You got Miami with $26.8 million. You got OKC with $28.6 million. You got the Pelicans, who are $30 million away from the second apron. You got Philly, who this can't be right. I about to be looking at something crazy. Oh no, wait a minute, hold up. I gotta be looking at something crazy. Spot Track, get y'all shit together. You got I'm certainly looking at something wrong via Spot Track. I'm gonna get on about that. But anyway, second apron teams, I'm gonna just have to go up the dome. Pause. Second apron teams are ineligible to trade, do sign and trade deals, right? So that takes teams like Cleveland out of the equation. Takes teams like trying to think who else is a second apron team. Boston out of the equation. You know, teams like that. So realistically, who could you see targeting a Bruce Brown to where it would be worth the Pelicans' while? I'm gonna get a real list here.
Because I think the other second apron teams as we currently stand are like Phoenix, Boston,
Phoenix,
of course, Milwaukee, and Minnesota. So let's see who's in the first.
Because I'm on Spot Track right now. Oh wait, my bad. That's from last year. Hold up. All right, so the teams that have second apron space. No, I mean it looks like that list was accurate. So where did I stop? If that's the case. So Philly has $30 million in second apron space. The Clippers have $35 million. Portland has 35. Golden State has 36.8. Sacramento has 37.5. And for the listeners, space up into the second apron, that's not like cap space. That's the space from the second apron. That's not cap space really available to sign people necessarily. The Pacers have 39.3. Bucks have 40 million. Washington has 43.4 million. Utah has 54. Charlotte. I think we're getting to the point with teams that aren't really contenders aside from Memphis. Memphis supposedly, according to Spot Track, has $70 million in second apron space. So given that list of teams in second apron space, dog, this I can't question. I'm not about to sit here and question Keith, but this list don't feel right to me. But
I mean, anyway. Memphis is in a great spot.
Oh hell yeah,
yeah.
They got to sign. They got to sign Jaren Jackson Jr. Also, they got to give him his extension. I believe
that's true.
And Santee,
but he still has another year. Agent. But I think Jackson has another year.
Does he? I know Santee is a restricted free agent.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
thank you, Buku Stat Guy. He said they also can't use the taxpayer mid-level exception to aggregate contracts and trades, send out cash and trades, sign and trade deals, or trade first-round picks 7 years into the future. They even first apron teams have some restrictions on things they can do in signing trades.
Bruce has to go somewhere where he's allowed to. I mean, it's gonna sound generic, but play free. I think the best thing that worked for him when he was in Denver was that whether Bruce went 3 for 9 or he went 9 for 9, he was able to be himself, and it was supported because he could be someone that helped him win a game. But Bruce was never going to be in a situation because of the way that other talents were playing to where Bruce Brown wasn't losing you a game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's best served in a situation where there's a clear 1, 2, 3, like offensively, you have enough firepower there to where if Bruce isn't shooting the ball well that particular night, it's fine because he's a glue guy. He's a dude that might be 5'5" and 5. You know what I mean? He might, he might, end up with a couple steals, a couple blocks, an extra pass. He's going to do a lot of the little things from night to night. And I think that you gotta like that. That's probably friends contender-ish. What's going on here? What we doing?
What happened?
No, they got a comment. They got a comment in it. No, it's not true. They got the second to last comment in the chat right there is crazy.
Yeah. I saw that. In fact, I didn't see it. But yo, Chris, I think I got the team. I think it's Miami. Because the dude, they got the rumors about him and old boy, old lady. You know what I'm saying? And he was kind of bunk this year too. He was kind of bunk. And Bruce was on the team that beat the piss out of them in the finals.
And Milwaukee, Miami does a really good job, I think, of rebuilding veteran value. They do. They just always seem to. If you are a role player, like it's a role player's dream going to Miami. They just always seem to set you up properly, either for your current state or your next situation. I still think Bruce is a solid role player. He's just a dude that that does a little bit of everything, but he ain't gonna shoot 39% from three. He might top out at 35 or 34. He ain't gonna, he's not gonna score 15 points a game, but he might get you 8 to 10 depending on the situation. He ain't gonna be, he's an undersized 4 in some nights, and the other night you might be having him guard one of the better perimeter players who has that vision for him. So hopefully somewhere with a good coach, and also hopefully again a situation where you're not expecting him. Like you go to the Lakers are set up right now to where the role players got to be really good sometimes.
Yeah, like Rui can't have a bad night.
He can't. Like you on the floor, I need you to be great some nights against these players because that's just the way our team set up. I don't think that's the situation that Bruce needs to go to. You need to be talking about you the 7, 8 night best player on the team, and if you overachieve, great. That's gonna raise our ceiling. If not, they ain't really gonna do much to us on the back end.
What Ross, one second. Are you keeping Bruce Brown, Ross? in any scenario, are you keeping Bruce Brown?
No.
That's a question for Chris as well. So Ross is a no. Chris, are you keeping Bruce Brown? Any reason? You say I love it here. I want to stay here.
How much you pay? Somebody elevator?
I don't know. That's not somebody got a fucking a light rail above their shit. But,
I could talk myself into keeping Bruce Brown. But what are you paying him though?
Whatever it is, it's probably gonna be a little too much. So I'm gonna take that as a no. If you gotta talk yourself into, I'm gonna take it as a no. Right. Ross, what are your thoughts pertaining to Cowboy Bruce?
He's the exact player we were just talking about, that like the veteran you bring in that isn't a specialist or particularly good at anything. Mm-hmm. Doesn't move the needle, doesn't do anything. He's better served on a veteran team. I look at somebody like Golden State. Mm-hmm. That had to play like a random assortment of like Gary Paytons and
you got Pods talking crazy.
Like, I don't know. I feel like it was a real random group of Trace Jackson Davis and like some Spanish like Dos Santos or something. Like guys, I'm talking about the playoffs that we're playing. Yeah.
Dos Equis.
He seems to fit more with a group of players like Jimmy Butler and Draymond, and like can do maybe some more positive things on a roster like that.
Tough hustle type squad.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, just what are you trying to get in return, I guess, in a signing trade?
Anything, maybe like for example,
gold or something.
Like for example, Denver got this guy they were trying to trade for a long ass time now. I forget his name, but he's like a forward that they gave this dumb contract to. It's only like $5 million, but it's still too much money for him. But so they gave him the stupid contract. If you say, all right, look, give me a first and that dude that you've been trying to move for a little while, and I'll give you Bruce Brown.
Is it Zeke Naji?
Him. Yeah, give me Zeke Naji. I'll take a scratch off ticket. you're not in the second apron no more. You can take back him or take back whatever, right? But I know you want Bruce. Bruce got a tattoo of y'all. And you can tell motherfucker ain't never been nowhere before. He got a fucking Denver Nuggets tattoo. Marco Bellinelli had a championship tattooed on his like left bicep or something. Like, damn, act like you've been here before. But so yeah, what the fuck? This bitch ordering everything on the menu. Class.
What about the big white dude that started some games at center for Golden State?
Jokic, I'll take him.
Golden State.
No, you said Golden State.
Post. Quinn Post.
Yeah, I didn't know who the fuck that was.
Yeah, it's like a rookie. He started some games. I think he probably shot like 40% from three. No, he ain't.
Great.
He ain't nothing. I mean, he's just like a 7-foot rookie young guy. That's what I'm saying. Something like that maybe makes sense. But
because I think with a lot of those Denver guys, with a lot of those Golden State dudes, they kind of all underperformed this year because we thought a lot of people was like Trey Jackson untradeable. He's the next starting center. So I think and that team is older. No, even him. Like and that team is much older. So you gonna need some reinforcements. 5. What are you doing with Brokeback Bruce?
Nothing. Not a damn thing.
My bad. I should have referenced that better.
I got you.
Bruce Brown.
Wherever Michael Malone goes, that's my thought process. Wherever he goes, and I think that's New York. And we talk about teams. They play a random style of basketball as we currently see it. The issue is like they don't run an offense, and I think that's what Michael Malone will help them do. Now, will they use Cat like they use Joker?
Could you play Josh Hart and Bruce Brown?
Yes, you could. Ooh. Yes, I think
even if you're trying to score back, like if you're trying to score.
That's like at times. I'm not saying like we're not closing the line, like closing the game with them. Right. But I can see I think they're two smart basketball players, right? Mm-hmm. Like they could, handle their own on the second night of a back-to-back in fucking Indiana. I don't know, but they are good basketball players. They can, Josh has had a 44-point game in his career. Like, Bruce has won a championship.
I like that 5 because I think one of Josh and Bruce's, I think, the best compliment I can give them is that they understand what it means to play next to superstar talent and what it means to kind of to assist them. In Bruce's case, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving had really good things to say about him when he was there, like before when he was in Brooklyn. That's how we even get to I forget he had a pit stop after Brooklyn. I think
Indy.
Toronto.
It may have been.
Yeah, no, Toronto was last. He went from Indiana to Toronto. I think he went straight to
okay, it might have been Denver. It might have been
Denver, right?
Okay, it might have been Denver. So I mean, he played well around Jokic. But then after that, there really wasn't a we can go back and forth on what Halliburton is, if Halliburton's a superstar or not, but he ain't Jokic and he ain't KD or Kyrie. So, it's a little bit different. And you go to Toronto, ain't no superstar there. Then you get to New Orleans. What do you play, about 5 games with Zion? Like, what?
Yeah.
I mean,
he actually won the game, too. This motherfucker single-handedly won. I never forget this game.
Get him to a place with a superstar. Do that.
All right. So, Lito, you just saying get him out of here?
Yeah, he ain't go win. We ain't we not a team built for his abilities.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's a guy. He like when you making when you making gumbo, like you already gotta have your roux together. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't got a foundation, ain't nothing in the pot. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't start the gumbo
with chicken necks.
Like you cooking the shrimp first, and then you gonna fuck around and you can't do that. This is a dude who. I think personally, I think he probably ends up back where he had the most success, and I think that's Denver.
Are you taking back Zeke Naji in the deal?
I don't want anybody they have. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I'm not interested in nobody like Denver got on their team. I mean, maybe other than Christian Brown. Fuck, I can't fleece
getting
somebody.
They
I
about to
can't
lose
fleece
Russ
somebody.
too, huh? Damn.
Yeah, I
What
can't
about that
fleece somebody.
guard?
Eric Garden.
Huh?
What about that guard? Light skinned cat. Oh my god, what's his name?
Julian.
Yeah.
Strother. Yeah, I was saying
Strother.
I would
I
take
do that deal.
Strother,
Yeah.
and I might take a flyer on the dude they drafted last year that ended up not being able to play. The center Holmes. Maybe. Yeah.
Lito.
Huh?
Duran.
Oh, your boy,
Yeah.
the 46-year-old.
Yeah.
We need a
Hey.
veteran, a 46-year-old.
Fuck
Word,
it.
word.
I
But
just thought you
I'd
got to
take
get.
Strother for sure.
I have Lou
Myers.
Strother. I think you got to get some playable talent back, man. All right, so we're gonna take a quick break and we're gonna get into the last segment on the show, the fan questions. The last segment is who is Willie Green proof. This should be an interesting conversation. I think we're gonna have some different opinions on this. So let's hear from Standard Mortgage.
Buying a house is one of the largest financial investments you'll ever make. That's why you need the experience and the support of the Standard Mortgage team. Whether you're looking to purchase, refinance, or consolidate debt through a cash-out refinance loan, Standard Mortgage will help you every step of the way. For the last century, we've grown to 7 locations across Louisiana, but we've always called New Orleans home. While others are busy raising your rates, we're focused on raising the standard. Visit us today at stanmore.com, STANMOR.com, NMLS number 44912, Equal Housing Lender.
All right. Our dog Ross had to drop out, but so we kind of spoke about this a little bit before. Let's talk about who is Willie Green proof on this team. Let me see. There we go. All right. So Chris, let's start with you. Out of the current roster, you got let's just go with the main players, right? You got Zion Williamson, you got Trey Murphy, you got Herb Jones, you got Eve Messi. You got Antonio Reeves, Jose Alvarado, Brandon Boston Jr. possibly. I'm not going to say Elfrid Payton just because we don't really know what's going to happen with that situation. But let's say Jordan Hawkins, right? Carlo and Kelly Olynyk. Out of the names listed, what players would you say Willie Green proof? And by definition, I mean they can't be individually successful or reach their full potential because Willie Green is hindering them.
So are you asking me players that are able to
survive Willie Green's
persevere past that? Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Listen. 5, I brought notes.
Okay.
Oh,
for sure.
So I was prepared. I was prepared here. I was prepared, 5. So my thoughts on Willie. I think Willie serves players best at a low maintenance. Okay. So that's a guy like Herb Jones. Like guys that don't require many conversations, like engagement, like plug and play. I know no matter what the situation is, I can expect you to do this. We don't have to talk about it. I can say, good job. You either playing with force or you not. Herb's one of those guys. I think Kelly Olynyk's one of those guys. Simple. We ain't got to have a conversation. You've been in the league a long time. You a vet. I know what to expect from you. You are the same person. If you're here, if you go to Toronto, you go to Boston, you go wherever, it's gonna be the same shit.
Okay.
I don't think CJ's one of those guys. Players that don't require much creativity. It can be as vanilla as possible. Because I think, or let's say players that you have a high investment and have a certain skill. Okay. I honestly think Zion, in a sense, is Willie proof, because I think that Zion's ability when right, he can persevere past almost anything. Now, there's levels of creativity that I think can maybe put a sprinkle or a candle on the motherfucker. Maybe that 28 or 27 points per game turns into 30 or some shit. Maybe he wins games. But are we talking about like his talent, his skill? I think Zion's one of those guys. But so we got Kelly, Elfrid, same dude. You know what he is. You know what to expect already. He's gonna take care of the basketball. He's gonna pass. So it's a bunch of veteran guys that come from established systems that pretty much know I know when I bring you in, like your skills are transferable and it can go place to place, station to station. I can count on you. In other words, we ain't gonna have many conversations because he struggles, because he's stubborn. He seems to be arrogant. He doesn't want to coach outside of his comfort zone. Trey Murphy, it don't work that way because Trey got more shit to his game. You ain't gonna just make me a 3-and-D player. I'm more than that. I don't want to stand in this corner. So I'm gonna piss you off. You know what I mean? Those are the type of dudes. I think that them low maintenance, them guys that Willie can say, you know what, you did a good job here today. You played, you played with force, you didn't get in the way of anything. Anybody else that want to dribble 4 times in a row, they got they got a hesitate, they got a step back. You know what I mean? Willie can't handle them.
Okay. So for the list, it's Herb, Alfred, Zion to a degree, Kelly Olynyk, and did you say Jose?
I did not say Jose.
Okay. So 5. Who's who? I can't hear you.
Nah, Lito, go first.
Oh, Lito, who you got?
I saw your hand up. You go. You got it.
Shit, my answer fairly simple. None of them. I'm not even joking. Like it's like none of them, because you can have the greatest talent, the greatest ability in the world. You can have all the intangibles. You can be as integral as you want. But if the dude who is coaching you is an idiot, it don't matter, because he doesn't know how to implement you into the game plan. You see him take probably one of the most athletic young men in the NBA, sit him in the corner. Like, he gonna find a way to ice you. I'm telling you, he played better defense than anybody in the NBA on him. Nobody is Willie Green. Like, nobody. That brother is a virus. He's a plague. He's gonna find a way.
He's inevitable.
He Thanos with the ring after he done, you know what I'm saying? He done ran through the Avengers whole shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just sitting, he's sitting over there on the beach now, his jersey in the rafter. Like, what was it all worth? 49 wins.
5.
As the host of the Sweat Hotel once said, nobody is safe from Willie Green. Dog, and to Chaz's point, that when he said reach their fullest potential, you just won't. Any type of potential, you just won't, because Willie Green is in the way. He won't allow you to fail forward. Anybody. He won't allow anybody. And that's what these guys need, especially Trey, especially Zion. They need to be able to fail forward, again, creating a parameter for them to be creative and get better. And when they do fail, see that failure as, this is just an attempt to get better, rather than penalizing them for, not living up to said expectations that you have for them on or off the court. That's my true problem. Like, he doesn't do that. No one can survive it, whether old or young. I mean, Alfred is 10 years in the league now. Shout out to Alfred. He won't help Alfred get better. I mean, that's what it's about. If you're a coach, right, helping everybody get better should be at a top priority. Some more than others, yes, but you still have to help them get better. There's a reason why Chaz alluded to guys going to Miami as veterans and being more attractive when they leave Miami, because that's what good culture provides. I think either Chaz or Chris, one of y'all said that. My bad. Yeah, both light skin. It's good. Just leaving Miami, like, it makes you more attractive. Willie Green can't provide that. He can't, and he won't.
Oh, shout out to Justin, man. Justin.
Whoa.
Head coach Justin in the building. So, speaking of great coaches, Willie Green, who isn't one, I'll say, I really think I got about 3 to 4 people on this list, but I gotta add a little like seasoning to my reason why. It's because some of the guys I think have already peaked with Willie Green. Like, to me, I think Herb has peaked with Willie Green. Offensively, I think you've already seen the best version of Herb. It's as good as it's going to get, right? I do think that Trey Murphy has shown perseverance, and he's overcome a lot of barriers that Willie Green has put in his way. I think Zion is kind of just Zion. Like, the talent is it's too overwhelming. Now, to Chris's point, motherfucker could be scoring 30 points on 16, 17 shots a game, but he don't get any easy shots. He also doesn't take threes. He also doesn't take a ton of free throws, but he's, but guys who I've consistently seen get better during the Willie Green tenure, I would say are Trey Murphy and Zion. With Antonio Reeves, to me, upperclassmen, guys like that who come into the league with a skill set, I think it's a lot more difficult for Willie Green to hold those guys back. What he does, he just doesn't play them. And to me, that's one of the main reasons it was so important for Detroit to get rid of Monty Williams, because it's like, yo, 1 or 2 seasons of this shit, whatever. Like 1 or 2 seasons, you looking at Jay and Ivy, you like, I don't know. But now you got a new coach, a really good coach, who kind of, can kind of see the talent there, and he gives them permission to dominate, right? So Jay and Ivy out there balling, gets hurt. Of course, we know how that happened. I'm gonna say, yeah, those 3. Carlo's got to run and jump. Carlo's got to run and jump. The guys who are gonna have the real roles on the team, like, I didn't see Eve Meese get better. Like, I seen him get better in the preseason, but once I saw him in, like, it stopped in December. And then it was just the same guy. But he's a rookie. So next year he could get much better. Like, who knows, right? But what he did, he was impressive. But I didn't see Willie Green making his life any easier. I really did. Like, we had Brandon Boston. Shout out to Jose, right? Jose does his thing. Brandon Boston was orchestrating the second unit. It looked pretty good, like running the second unit. As good as you could look on a bad team. And I'm like, wait a minute. If anybody could do this, why is this guy here untouchable? Yeah. Like, if anyone can do it, why are certain guys untouchable? Chris, what are you about to say?
And because I think Willie struggles with nuance. Like, if your game is cut and dry, like, he can speak to that, because his game in a lot of ways was that. But if you are someone that plays off script, 9 times out of 10 it's something that's going to bother him, because he can't, like, it doesn't speak to what he knows he can help and teach, obviously. And I think, some of the players that he's relied on, you look overall, for the most part, he felt like their games was cut and dry, and you knew what to expect. Or he felt like he knew what to expect. Najee was one of those individuals.
Are you saying he's better with just straight ready-made products? Like, you ain't got no aspirations. You here.
Right. But, like, yes, but not only do they have to be ready-made, I think that they also, like, their skill sets have to be really, like, it has to be limited in a sense. Like, if he had a center, if Yves Missy was a true rim running, like rim protecting lob threat, it'd be great. I don't think Yves sees himself as that. I think Yves thinks he can do something with the basketball. I think Yves thinks he can put the ball on the floor. Right. I think Yves thinks he's gonna be somebody who you can throw the ball down to in the post. I really believe that's what he thinks he is. I
hope he is that. Like,
I really think that's who he thinks that he is. But you bring in Kelly Olynyk, it's simple. I know your job is to stretch the floor, make the pass either out of the mid post or do dribble handoffs at the top of the key. And that's all I got. I ain't got to worry about you wanting the ball in the post, looking for doing drop steps and spin hooks and turnaround fades. I just don't have to worry about you doing that. But if I did, you wouldn't be playing here, buddy. Because I can't play for that.
Fuck out of here, JV.
I see it as, like, anybody, to Chris's point, anybody that has a game that's ambiguous, right? Like, you can't, like, put your finger on, like, this is Paul, like, this is what this guy does. Well, I don't know. Anybody's game that Willie Green comes in contact with where he's saying, I have to cultivate his game to be better.
Right. Yeah, put the pieces of the puzzle together.
I got to do more work as a coach, which is your job. I got to see something, you becoming something that you don't even see for yourself. Like if he has to do that, if he has to be a father, nah, he don't want that problem. Like he can't see that for anybody other than even for himself. Like he just sees this is who he is as a coach. I don't think he's even attempted to get better as a coach because year after year he makes the same exact mistakes.
Yeah.
So
I feel like Chris could have just stopped his statement with he could have started it and stopped it at the same time, like grand opening, grand closing. Chris could have just said, honestly, Willie Green struggles. Like,
period.
That was it.
With everything.
That was it.
So y'all don't think that there's nothing at all as a coach that he possibly does even average. I don't think he's an NBA head coach. I don't.
He's not
for sure. But I'm saying you don't think there's anything possibly that he brings to any type of player.
What is it?
I'm asking you guys.
I think people overestimate his ability to cultivate relationships with people because I have it on good authority that a lot of people don't like Willie Green. And a lot of people, in fact, I would say they dislike Willie Green. So when you hear shit like, oh, the guys want to play for him, like, how you keep getting beat by 30 points? And then you saying they soft, they don't try hard, we're not playing with force. Clearly, they don't want motherfucker to play with you. But I think let's do anything well. No, I'm going to say absolutely not.
Willie Green should be a college coach. I think that's where his lane should be. And I don't think he's going to be a really good, maybe like D3, where you're saying like, oh, he played in the NBA, he coached at the NBA level. We're going to, hand over our organization to him because he can build it. That way, like, he can tell you, and that can be his credence. Like, I coached, I did this, and you can't really talk back to that because you haven't made it to that level. You haven't experienced that, so there's no way. But here at the NBA level, like, that won't really work over for them. That won't go over well. Like, you got to help them and be, create that relationship with them without, like, you feel like, the coach and they have to listen. Like, do the players want to listen to you? And I don't think they do at all.
I really think. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lito.
No. Go ahead.
I was just about to say, I think Willie Green is in a boss's position when he's better as an employee.
Yeah.
I think Willie Green, because shout out to Florin, she was like, supposedly he has a great relationship with Devin Booker. It's like, because you was a developmental, you worked for me. Like, right. You're a developmental coach when you was with Devin Booker, but now you the HNIC. It's like, you kind of, you don't want to take advice from nobody. Now they playing cutthroat games. We can keep it, they straight out the third, straight cutthroat, playing cutthroat games. But you don't want to take advice from nobody. Can't answer questions. You don't have the best relationship with some of your main players. It was such a anomaly for you stand up for Zion that he actually had to acknowledge it. He's like, that means a lot, man. That's like, that shit happened one time. You probably got total 5 technicals on the season. If it's 5, I'm taking the under, right? If it's 5. So what, like, if Willie Green, like, I think Chris mentioned, he's totally vanilla. If Willie Green was never a part of the organization, we really, it would be like Jeff Bauer. It would be like, it was the coach young. Like, he just left no imprint on the organization whatsoever.
I think D3 Genuous. I think he probably a JV high school basketball coach.
I think he should be at Joe Brown Park.
I think that's disrespectful to Joe Brown. Joe Brown got a nice facility. Yeah, they got some good runs over there. I feel like that's really disrespectful to Joe. I think. Man, bro, that dude not good at nothing. He can't coach. He can't talk to the media. He can't give his thoughts in a post game. He don't run plays for his players. Nobody, not the good ones, not the bad ones. No, I'm not gonna help nobody across the board. You bitches gonna figure it out on your own.
Single
you're gonna fail.
Yeah, it's like he's almost like he's like an arrogant C student that gets D's. You know, it's like Willie don't see that he's too arrogant for like the actual production or actually how good he is. And that the situation with Five always sticks with me. You know what I'm saying? On a lot of different levels of, me asking you a question. Like in a lot of ways, man, if you a coach, you have an opportunity. Like if I'm there as media, I'm actually there partially to learn from you. I'm asking you questions because you do have all this experience. You're supposed to be putting me on game. But to be arrogant and dismissive of like the most simplest shit, and then some of the shit like behind the scene, it's like, bro, like now you just being you being a jerk, and you being a jerk to another black man. You know what I mean? When like, damn, bro, I'm on your side. Like,
I was laughing because I wanted to say a hoe.
I mean, I had
Yeah, I get it.
So that's the thing. I don't think Willie can see outside. It's like ignorant arrogance too. Yeah. Because either he ain't got the right people in his circle saying, hey, bro, like you not really seeing this properly. You should be making like shit. Willie, we might know the terms of his extension if he was better with some of the people in the media, or if I felt like I could get a good quote from Willie, or if I feel like I could have a good relationship or good answers with him. You know what I mean? Like way too arrogant, and if he's that way with media, he's that way with players, he's that way with that, and these dudes gonna look at him like, bro, you don't know enough about the game to be acting the way that you act towards everybody else sometimes.
Bro, what other coach out here is having beef with their lottery players? And like an unnamed beef that it's a one-sided beef that literally anybody you talk to, nobody understands it. Why don't you like Redacted? Or why doesn't he like Redacted? And it's like, I don't know. I mean, he's a good kid. Everybody else around the NBA likes him. This is this fucking guy.
Man, I remember hearing that Willie told a coach, I'm not gonna name the coach. I remember the coach was like, I got these sets. Got these ideas, and Willie's like, man, fuck all that. We need to find out how to better utilize. This is a real quote. Motherfucker said, I don't know if it's true or not, but motherfucker said, man, fuck. No, not the fuck all that part. He was like, we need to better utilize our elbow sets. Like, motherfucker, what? What are you talking about?
I like how Chad said. This is a real quote, but I don't know if it's real or not.
Well, I was saying, I don't know if it's 100. Look, I don't know if it's 100% true because you hear shit, and sometimes motherfuckers say it happened, but it ain't happen quite like that. Yeah. But supposedly, coach was like, "Yo, man, I got these ideas, et cetera," and Willie was like, "Nah, never mind all that. We need to figure out how to better utilize our elbow sets. This is the bread and butter."
That boy Willie hate ideas.
Oh yeah, Willie make his head hurt. He's like, come on, man, all these thoughts.
But you over there thinking again?
Nigga, can I get some silence?
Man, that's that. You know what though, man? That's real in a lot of ways though. That's sad though, bro, because that's somebody that can't get out their own way. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like the Pelicans might be loyal to him now, but he gotta, now we going into what year 4 or year 5 with Willie Green?
5.
Year 5.
It's 5. Though it's been enough people inside this organization now, or players that's been around to where like they go to other places and have conversations about like, yo, man, this dude's stubborn and ain't gonna make you better at the game. You can't tell him nothing. He want to run what he gonna run, and when it's not working, he gonna look at you and say you're not playing hard enough. You know what I mean?
I know Jordan heard it. Oh.
Which is crazy. He like, look, Brandon. I got like Brandon. He say some, he said some odd shit sometimes, but I can't get mad at one of my at my best player, my perimeter player, basically said, "Coach, can you run something for me?
Help me out,
help me, please,
help me." Can we run a different set of different? Can you get me open? Dort won't leave me alone.
That's crazy, dog.
Nah. Ain't no playoff, dog.
Nah, dog.
You got it.
Shout out to Lou Dort.
Hey,
boy. Like, what?
Son, how does he survive that? Like, I'm not like Brandon and Zion needed to be separated at some point. But how do you pick Willie Green over Brandon at all? Like that's still wild to me.
I don't even know how you pick what. Well, I guess because again, like the 5 point, I think another reason they probably not announcing this extension is because man, you facing all kind of labor laws. If Willie Green making these penny on a dollar salary, like, oh man, Willie Green, 3 years, $3 million. Y'all should give it up for him. You're like, whoa, 3 years, $3 million, and you're a head coach. So it probably, that's another thing. Probably, I don't want my business out there,
Hey, nobody.
Intern.
No.
Head coach intern.
Hey, he out here. He out
It
here doing
get
it.
worse and worse.
He out here doing exactly what Michael Beasley was trying to get Lance Stevenson to do.
Oh my God. Yo, that was an insane.
Wild.
Yo, that was insane, bro. And you know what's crazy about that? If you zoom out, right? If you zoom out and connect certain dots, I'm not gonna say to whom or whatever. I'm gonna say if you connect certain dots, it makes sense. But shout out to
you gotta holler at
it. Shout out to Michael Beasley and shout out to Lance Stevenson, former Pelican.
Yeah,
Lance Stevenson, former Pelican. Jameer Nelson. We didn't have some people. Nate Robinson, Isaiah Thomas, Kendrick Perkins, Josh Smith. What's the dude? He said they gave him cold French fries or something. Tony Allen. I think Tony Allen lying. Ain't no way in the world, motherfucker, say, "Whoa, hold on, boy, Drew Brees got to eat." And they gave you what Drew Brees didn't eat. Now here, you take a piece of this.
I don't know.
I don't know. Tony Allen went crazy.
You think Drew Brees eating in the same vicinity as Tony Allen? Come on now.
Yeah, that's true.
Come on,
that's true. Tony Snell. We had some name brand, we had some Marshalls players like Burlington Coat Factory.
Brothers.
Yes, slightly used players. We're gonna get to the fan questions and get out of here. Got some eBay players. Residual was in the building. He said Ivy must be out scouting this new favorite player. Shout out to Ivy for that Thomas Sorber alley-oop. Yeah. Do it all right, man. Dude, like he got cinder block Nikes, but he's all right.
Yeah, he can't jump over a sheet of paper.
Yeah, somebody like that, you gotta look. Just lift weights. No, he remind me of, son. He remind me of Kevon Looney. While I was watching him last night, like how it was, like, man, he looked like 30-some-year-old Kevon Looney. but he nice though. I'm just saying. Shout out to my dog Tennessee. He said, "Christ, we're gonna be the Pistons
if we lucky."
Depending on which Pistons. Tennessee, he's a little more discouraged about Bryson being out of the building, and I see quite a few people are. I don't know. I don't think Bryson much better than Troy. Bryson just don't have a Killian Hayes on his record, and that depends on when you think Bryson was willing and dealing. Because if Bryson got Jackson Hayes on his record. Woo.
I mean, yeah, because if we gonna point out Troy losses, we got to point out the wins too.
Hey, I think there's a part of Troy that's brought here not only for that aspect, but his relationships.
It's all.
So his time, I heard an interesting story. His time in Oklahoma City, so under Sam Presti. Which makes me think, okay, all right, you've been on, been around the block. You ain't just, been one place, right? And you learn that, which I think is probably the better GM, president of basketball operations, like in the whole entire league.
Yeah.
And what's the dude's name? DJ Augustine, right? He when he was there, he was talking about how he was playing and Billy Donovan bitched him, but he was like in the contract year. and he knew what that meant. Where when he got benched, he had one game he was benched. Billy brought him in, and DJ said his relationship with Troy allowed him to call Troy Weaver and be like, "Hey, bro, get me out of here. Like I know what's going on." And Troy was like, "DJ, I feel super bad. Look, just holler at Sam, and we'll try to make something happen." The ability, to do that, being in upper management and having somebody contact you as a player, like they gotta be available. You got to be available for that. So I think that's another part of Troy we probably don't mention, but I think that's an avenue of, just building a better relationship.
Okay. We got DJ Pratt in the building. How many games until Willie is fired this season? I say 20.
I'm not doing this again.
I'm tired. I'm tired of being disappointed. I don't know.
I don't know. I do think he'll be fired this season though. Thoughts on Ace Bailey rumors? Trey Alexander, what up, Trey? Would love to hit a panel's pick at 7 if we stay there.
Hate it.
They
Hate
blowing
the Ace
smoke.
Bailey.
They blowing smoke, big dog. Trey.
I'm going with Fears, man. If Fears is there, I'm just taking Fears and just saying fuck.
What made you change your mind?
Just the need for that. It's just so much harder to find a high-end point guard. I feel like I can find microwave scores the way Trey kind of projects to be. And I feel like and I didn't know Fear started the season at 17. So I'm like, God damn. So he might be, dude might be something, man. I see potential Kyrie.
No,
I just meant for the handle, and I meant for the handle. Now his finishing, and he takes a lot of bad angles. It's not that encouraging. He's also very strong. Dude, like he throw a motherfucker off. Like he's very strong.
I think he's more Brunson than he is Kyrie.
Brunson? Hey,
yeah,
sounds great. I'll take
it. Yeah.
That would be excellent. We got me Mung in the business. We would have to get rid of the DeJounte Murray first.
Yep.
I think you should just rip the Band-Aid off. They also shout out to I forgot who said it. They also said they saw a post with Brandon Boston. He's still in the boot. So I don't know, Brandon. Might get the scissors out for you, though. Shout out to Tramal, Marlon Maul. Kelly said once Borrego leaves, the Pelicans will have no offense. He doesn't really have any input now, Tramal, to be honest.
Got offense, no.
Yeah, Willie, he's trying to maximize the elbow offense success and stuff. Put two and two together. You know what I'm saying? Tennessee said, could DeJounte be included in the Jazz deal if the Pels gave up an extra first? Potentially. I don't see the Jazz going trying to win this year. And then Laurie contract quickly becoming a very bad contract, dog. It's an ugly ass contract.
Man, yeah. Go ahead, Bob.
No, I'm just saying how that shit crazy. How we talk about how good of a contract it was, and then
you got that extension. Now you most likely got a tank next season too because you didn't get Cooper.
Ooh. Well, we'll talk about that another time.
Oh, Booty. Why is this year the year to try to win? OKC intentionally tank for 3 years to get where they are now. Contracts, brother. I don't think Shea even had his money when they initially started tanking. That then they hit in the lottery back to back times, and so and Joe Dumars was 62, 63. Yeah, man. Shout out to my dog Zeke. He said, I know I didn't hear surviving Willie Green. Y'all wilder. Man, if Willie Green get fired, a lot of stuff will come out, bro. A lot of stuff will come out, especially from this broadcast. If Willie Green is fired. And we got Champ TV. Appreciate the champ with the 5 pieces. I personally believe Willie Green is out of here by November, if we're lucky. I think they're gonna give him an excuse in November because guys gonna just be coming back from injuries. But I think December, that's about the deadline. You fire a motherfucker to save the season. So that sounds about right. What y'all thinking?
God willing, October.
I'm about to tell you, I don't know. I don't know no more.
Yeah.
I can explain this.
Well, the trade question? So we're going to close with this question. This is a great point by Trey Alexander. He said, I think the Ace hate is a little overblown. I think it might be getting there too. Like, and I'm you know, but go ahead, Lito.
It might be overblown, but we did a show probably like 2 months ago, and I said it then. Like, once I found, and this is probably a crazy reason, but it's my reason. Once I found out he wasn't 6'10", it made all the difference in the world for me. The type of shots that he takes, right? The type of shots that he takes, his non-movement off the basketball, his basketball IQ. Listen to his interviews, and this is the thing, Trey. This is the big part of this for me. I don't want the Pelicans to draft him. We just went through this whole Willie Green spiel about who's Willie Green proof. This brother, I guarantee you, is not Willie Green proof.
I just want to say, as we all learned from the Boondocks, what did he do to make these so mad? Like, I just want to know. I thought he was like a good player, super talented, right? But what did he do or say to make everybody be like, nah?
I watched the interview he did in Charlotte the other day, and I was like, I get it.
You get it?
Because sometimes, like, you know, sometimes confidence can offend people. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can come across arrogant instead of being confident, right? But I also say, if he's at 7, I'm assuming that Maluak and Fierce jumped, and Trey probably jumped, and I don't know what happened with Queen. If he's at 7, I might just bite the bullet and say, all right, fuck. Like, he still got one of the higher upsides in this game. And the lie I would tell myself, because it's all about lying to yourself, would be, what if I got Brandon Ingram when he was a rookie and I could change how like, that's the lie I would have to tell myself. Like, because they're not gonna choose Willie Green over Ace Bailey.
And that's who I see. I see Brandon Ingram. Like, I see Brandon Ingram without the passing.
I see a better defense. I see Brandon without the passing and a better defensive Brandon. Like, because when you watch Ace, he looks 6'10". Like, he be swatting shit. He also don't got no. He got the Brandon athleticism where he not really like fast. He ain't got no quick twitch. So I don't know. But it's been today's show, man. Please, Five, you had something you want to say?
Nah, hell no, we done.
Yeah, it's been today's show, man. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. We'll be back probably. I don't know what's gonna happen when the next episode is. Maybe Wednesday, maybe Sunday, but we'll be back. Appreciate all y'all. We out. Peace.
That'd be cool. Peace.